Thank you. Thank you for your
Right.
time, for your help. I know that you are very, very busy. We are meeting actually in your office in British Parliament. I really want to thank you, your nation, your country, for helping my country. You know, I think that the British society, the British people, made some kind of signal to other world when Boris Johnson and the politicians came to my country in April or in March last year. So I even see that you have reward from Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine. So actually high rank recognition of your activity. What is personally for you this war? I mean, how you perceived the 24th of February of last year, where you were, and is it a challenge for the Western world?
I mean, first of all, I say the war didn't start on the 24th of February 2022. The war started in 2014.
And for me also,
Yes,
for all the Ukrainians.
In Crimea and Donbass. Yeah. And the war will only finish when there isn't a single Russian soldier on Ukrainian territory, going back to 2014. And I think that people here, people in the UK, have a very strong sense of fairness. And we're not inherently anti-Russian or anti-the-Russian people, but we very clearly saw that there was an invasion, that it was barbarism, that there was potential for genocide in the Russian attacks. We saw the column moving towards Kyiv. We saw the battles in Kharkiv, in Mariupol, in the Azov steelworks. These were all over our televisions, and Ukrainians started to come, and British people opened their homes and took in Ukrainians. Many hundreds of thousands of British people took in Ukrainians. But also, as a parliament, as one parliament, we were very keen to make sure that we gave military aid, humanitarian aid to Ukraine. And when I go to Ukraine, people say that the British, along with the Polish, the Baltic countries, are the strongest supporters of Ukraine. They are next door, they're neighbours, we're not, but we feel like in spirit we are the neighbours of the Ukrainian people.
Thank you for your support. And do you understand correctly that the support of Ukraine in your society is overwhelming? It's not just a division of the different parties,
No.
a position of the politicians.
There is no party here that isn't supportive of Ukraine and supportive of both the humanitarian effort and the military effort. We all support military aid to Ukraine and humanitarian. We always support humanitarian aid in this country, but military aid as well, which we don't always support military aid. But we do very strongly support military aid, whether it's the ruling Conservative Party, the opposition Labour Party, or the minor parties, the Liberals, the Scottish Nationalists, the Welsh Nationalists, the Greens, doesn't matter.
This is very important. The other thing which is also important, especially now, specifically now when we speak about this conflict from the geopolitical perspective, you mentioned very important thing when we were going to your office, that Russia used different methods of hybrid, of some kind of influence, including the Hamas, including Iranians, their allies, to involve United States in more geopolitical conflict and then benefit. I actually also estimate a situation like this. So how you see such kind of conflict broader?
I think that Putin and the Russian regime are trying to reshape global politics. And I think that he made a very grave miscalculation with Ukraine. And he thought the victory would be much easier than it is. And now that he's not successful and is becoming popular in Russia, and people are reacting to the war, maybe not publicly, not in the media, but certainly internally, he needs other conflicts. He's trying to destabilise the West and support for Ukraine. So we just saw what happened in Nagorno-Karabakh and the Armenians being expelled by Azerbaijan. This is certainly something that Putin was involved with. We've seen destabilisation in the Balkan region, with Serbia, again, another Russian ally, in Kosovo, in Montenegro. So again, although it's not a war, there is destabilisation. And, the horrific attack by Hamas on Israel a month ago, everybody says that it was the Iranians were backing them. They were, sure, they were supplying the Iranians. The Iranians were obviously also supplying the Russians. The Russians are allied to the Iranians. The Russians are still in Syria, and they're still backing working with the Iranians, backing these groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad. It's all part of trying to reshape a global order. Partly it's about Putin himself individually, but also about a Russian worldview. And we had Lavrov again yesterday saying NATO's finished, it's over, it's an old. This is all about trying to destabilize and trying to separate us. And we need allies actually. Well, really importantly, we need allies outside of Europe and North America, Australia. We need allies in Asia. We need allies in Africa. We need allies in South America, because we can't allow Putin to gain traction in those regions.
That you mentioned very important things concerning the allies, and today, in today's speech of King Charles, he mentioned two very important things for me, which were very important. That the British should work more close with allies concerning the support of Ukraine, and also in the counter terrorists. It means support Israel, which very important. However, when we speak about support, I don't have any doubts that your country will keep on supporting Ukraine. But what we see now in Europe, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, United States, for example, what is your opinion about this situation? I know it's complicated for you as a British politician to explain this. However,
this summer I was a month in all of those countries and in Ukraine. And I actually think Poland is an improvement. I think Tusk is a major improvement, actually. I think people can have different views about it, but I think he's pro-EU and is more supportive of Ukraine, in my opinion. And the coalition certainly is that he's leading. But I was also in Slovakia for their elections, and Fico's party, although it was a sister party of my party, we expelled them from the Socialist International, actually, because of his views. Very dangerous. Orban is a dangerous influence in the EU. Hungary is acting with impunity. They are, they're trying to face both ways towards the EU and take advantage of the EU for their economy, but also support Putin, and they're also horrendously anti-Semitic as well. And that also plays in some of these narratives. And Fico's trying to have that same popularity, and that's really dangerous. We can't allow that to gain traction. It's also beginning to gain traction in Czech Republic, in Slovenia. It's really dangerous, and the EU needs to get a more hand. I think it's more difficult for us in the UK, but I think the EU needs to get a better grip on it. And we need to have pro-democratic forces, political forces need to be, and those narratives need to be pushed. And so the EU need to be very strong about media, freedom of the press, state media, because what's happening is that people are propagandizing. In Hungary, people are hearing what Orban wants them to hear, not freedom of the press. They close down. That's not what happens or should happen in the EU, but that's what's happening. So I think that's really important.
Thank you. Thank you for your sincere support of my country. I know that you have roots which are going from Ukraine, yes, and you also have roots connected with Israel. So you are a multicultural politician, I would say.
Yes.
Thank you for your help and thank for your sincere interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you.